How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Black Metal Rebellion. I'm your host, Jesse Morgan, aka Slammerella, and today we have a music collection update for you. Got a nice big stack here. But yeah, we got a nice big stack of things to get through today. Some things that definitely needed to be added to my collection, and something on my shirt here that you might see a lot of, so hopefully you like that project. But let's get started with something you may not have heard of, and that is this. This is a Mongolian folk metal band, obviously from Mongolia, called Who, or The Who, and this is their debut album from 2019 called The Gereg. They started in 2016, and they actually just released their second album September 2nd, so on my birthday this year, so that's pretty cool. I'm not exactly sure how I first heard of The Who, but I quite enjoyed a few of their songs, Wolf Totem being one, and Shug being another. I also opted for the deluxe edition, which comes with bonus tracks with Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach on Wolf Totem, and then a couple of the dudes from Ashes to New on a track called If You. I don't know, I can't pronounce some of these things. And then Izzy Hale from Hailstorm on Song of Women. But yeah, so if you haven't checked out these guys before, highly recommend them. They are pretty unique. They're not super duper heavy. They're folk metal, but mostly it's just like Mongolian throat singing, so like sounding stuff, and some pretty interesting instruments. They have this 2 or 3 string thing it's like a guitar, but not quite. The kind of drums that they have are pretty interesting. They've got an electric violin or electric cello, I think. Highly recommend. Just go check out The Who, H-U. Check out Wolf Totem. Definitely their best song from that album. But yeah, check out The Who, The Gereg, if you haven't. And look out for, again, their new album called Rumble of Thunder that came out September 2nd of this year. All right, moving on to the band that I am currently wearing, and that is AC/DC, of course. Now, I used to have pretty much all of their albums, I think, in high school or a little after, and then at one point I just said, fuck it, I'm selling them, and I probably sold them to get some slam or brutal death metal albums. But I eventually got into them again a few months ago, and I'm like, fuck, I need to get some more AC/DC back in my life, so had to start with the classic, AC/DC Back in Black. For whatever reason you don't know who AC/DC are, hard rock band from Australia that started in 1973. They got about 17 albums in total. AC/DC's Back in Black is from 1980 and is their 7th album. They got quite a few remasters and re-releases. I have no idea what edition this is. It looks like probably one of the first editions, though. That cover is pretty plain, and I don't see too many that look like that. But yep, Back Black, classic AC/DC. And then they followed that up a year later in 1981 with For Those About to Rock, We Salute You. This has quite a few good tracks on it. For Those About to Rock, of course. Inject the Venom is so good. Evil Walks, COD, Night of the Long Knives. If you like, you know, Brian Johnson era AC/DC, this is definitely one that you should probably pick up. It's a nice follow-up to Back in Black. Doesn't quite have the same feel, but you can still tell this was hot after the release of that album. But yep, there's that one. Digipack, you know how I feel about those. And the album that's from my shirt, Blow Up Your Video. This came a couple albums later, though. This is their 11th album. I feel like this sounds like it came from the last Action Hero soundtrack. Big Gun definitely should have been on this, but of course they have to release it on the soundtrack, not on an album. Otherwise it's not like a special feature for that movie. But I liked AC/DC's Blow Up Your Video. Not too many people have this high up in their ranks. If you see AC/DC albums ranked videos, I was shocked because I really enjoy this album. That's the Way I Want to Rock and Roll, pretty sure is the album, or is the song that has it in it. No super duper huge bangers on this one, but it's just like a generally decent album, and came out in 1988. So again, if you like the Brian Johnson era of AC/DC, there should be no reason why you don't pick this one up. It's, again, has the blow up your video kind of line in it. Again, I think that's from That's the Way I Want to Rock and Roll. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't think I have the lyrics in here for it, but nope. That's the inside of the booklet. So no lyrics to be able to confirm whether that's the song that line's from, but I'm pretty sure Blow Up Your Video was in the Last Action Hero movie. But yep, Kissin' Dynamite, rough stuff. Two's Up, Heat Seeker I think is pretty good too. Again, it's a kind of middle of the road album, no huge bangers on it, but again, still pretty good. Alright, moving on from AC/DC now to what I thought was me catching up on all their albums, but not now. They got a new album out. But who am I talking about? I'm talking about Wednesday 13 with the 8th album from 2019, Necrophase. Oh my goodness. And if you pick this album up and you hear the first track, Necrophase, it's repetitive and it's said a million times. The rest of the song, besides the part where they say Necrophase a million times, it is pretty good. And I guess they thought they'd get some clout by having Alice Cooper do some monologuing in it. I don't know. Not a big fan of the Necrophase song. Cool art, cool album theme for sure, but Monster is definitely the best track. Track number 4, featuring Christina Scabia, whoever the fuck that is. Zodiac's also pretty good. The Hearse is okay. This again isn't their best album. It does get into some of their heavier composition though. Like this is where it kind of goes from being just horror punk into kind of like metal or horror metal. But yeah, if you don't know who Wednesday 13 is, he's the lead singer for a bunch of different bands, going way back to Maniac Spider Trash, Frankenstein Drag Queens from Planet 13, to the more famous project that he was in with Joey from Slipknot was Murder Dolls. Apparently there's a big kerfuffle going on about Murder Dolls. The rights to the name lapsed, or the logo lapsed, and one of the old members kind of stole it before Wednesday 13 could actually get it himself. So now there's, I don't know, some weird thing where they're trying to exclude Wednesday 13 from the history of the band, even though Wednesday 13 is the lead singer of Murder Dolls. So I don't know how they're going on about that. But if you also like glam metal or Motley Crue and all that kind of stuff, he also has a project called Gunfire 76 Tragedies and something. I'll probably have a picture here or here to show you guys, but it's pretty good. It's a horror glam project. It's worth checking out if you dig Wednesday 13's vocals. This specific project though started in 2004. They have 7 other albums and 4 EPs, and again, I thought this was the last album. I thought I was all caught up, but I'm not, because they're releasing Horrifier, their 9th album, coming October 7th this year, 2022. So yay, another thing I have to catch up on from Wednesday 13. But honestly, he doesn't make bad music if you dig this style, and I highly recommend you checking out the older projects like Frankenstein Drag Queens and Maniac Spider Trash. It's pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, check out Wednesday 13, horror punk metal type of band. Alright, and moving on to something that is probably going to be flooding your subscriptions and your YouTube viewings in the metal circle is Megadeth, because they just came out with a new album called The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, which released again on my birthday, September 2nd. So I apologize for more Megadeth in your watching experience here in the metal YouTube circles, because I got a few of these to check out for you guys. So yeah, Megadeth with their second album, Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? This was released back in 1986. It's their second album. Megadeth is probably the better out of the big four of the thrash metal bands. They started in 1983 after Dave Mustaine got rudely ejected from Metallica, and again, Los Angeles based. I have a kind of unpopular opinion about this and the third album. I feel like it's not the greatest. I know a lot of people, again, on the rankings videos where they have Megadeth albums ranked, they have this way up at the top, first or second place, but I would not put this there. Like, there's just nothing too memorable for me about Peace Sells, except for the self-titled track. Like, Devil's Island, I don't know, the only thing I remember about that is him saying Devil's Island a million times in it, but I don't know. And then Good Morning Black Friday, I don't remember a damn thing from it. Bad Omen, I don't like. I Ain't Superstitious, that is a terrible song. The Conjuring, Wake Up Dead, they're like a 6 out of 10 or 5.5 out of 10. I'm not a fan of Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? But I have to have it. It's a must-have in the Megadeth discography, so it's in here and I got it now. And again, Megadeth, it's one of those bands that for whatever reason I just decided to sell all of my albums from. I had quite a damn few built up over the years in high school, and then at one point I just sold them, again, probably for some slam or brutal death metal albums. Alright, the next one I have here is their third album, So Far So Good So What, from 1988. This is another one where I'm not gonna have the most popular opinion. Not a fan of this album, really. Nothing super duper memorable stands out for me from this one. In My Darkest Hour is the best track off of this. Into the Lungs of Hell, Set the World Afire are kind of Anarchy in the UK is all right. I like the Sex Pistols, so Dave doing a cover of the Sex Pistols is pretty cool. Mary Jane is fine, but I'm not a fan of songs that like talk about drugs a lot, unless it's done in like a very certain specific way. I can't explain which way that is, but I don't like Mary Jane. 502's Liar, it's a mostly good song. I'd say it's about a 7 out of 10 for me. And then Hook in Mouth, I feel should be a lot better. If you're gonna have a song called Hook in Mouth, you should at least have some hooks, some really good memorable riffs in it. But nothing stands out to me. So yeah, In My Darkest Hour is, to me, the only reason to get this album. Let me know in the comments section what tracks are your favorites from Peace Sells and So Far So Good So What, and let me know what I'm missing, because I don't get it. Nothing sticks out to me. There's no super duper memorable riffs. It's thrashy, it's fast, it's, you know, it's aggressive, but I don't know. Nothing strikes me as super memorable about these two albums. So yeah, that's their third album, So Far So Good So What, from 1988. This one is a way better album in my opinion, and it's an EP. Basically their only EP, I feel like. I think they have a second one, but it's unremarkable. This is the only EP to get from them. This is Hidden Treasures. This is so good. This has got Angry Again on it. No More Mr. Nice Guy, amazing cover. Go to Hell, which I believe is from the Beavis and Butthead soundtrack. 99 Ways to Die, and then there's Problems, which is another Sex Pistols cover. But yeah, it's got 8 tracks on here. This is way better than their first 2 albums in my opinion, or their second and third album. I really like Killing Is My Business actually, but their second and third album, this blows those 2 out of the water, and for me at least. Hidden Treasures is an amazing EP. If It was released in 1995 and came out between Euthanasia and Cryptic Writings, but the material from this was recorded in 1989 to about 1994, so technically around the Countdown to Extinction album era. So that's probably why I like it. Countdown to Extinction is my all-time favorite Megadeth album. So yeah, this is so worth getting. If you do not have Megadeth's Hidden Treasures in your collection and you like Megadeth, you need to go get this shit right now. So good. Like a 10 out of 10 EP for me. The next one, whew, this is a low point for them, but there's still some pretty decent songs on here. If we're being honest, I would listen to this album before I listen to Peace Cells or So Far So Good So Wet. And despite how I pronounce what, this album is Risk, and it was a risk because they were doing some really funky, slow mainstream shit on here, but there's also tidbits of Cryptic Writings in this, which I really liked. There's also tidbits of what was to come from like Endgame and The World Needs a Hero and stuff, so it was still teetering on that line. I don't like the country song they have on here. Was it Wanderlust? That was the country song? I don't know. Crush 'Em was okay. Like, it was an alright kind of middle of the road song for Megadeth. Prince of Darkness is definitely the highlight track on here. Not a big fan of the Time songs. Time the Beginning or Time the End. They're just meh. I feel like Seven might have had something special about it. Breadline, the shit one. I think Breadline was the ultra shit song. Insomnia was good. I liked Insomnia. So basically the first three songs, Insomnia, Prince of Darkness, and Crush 'Em, a pretty decent triplet to start off the album. And then the rest it just kind of starts getting shittier and shittier as you listen on, I think. But yeah, I have the remastered edition where he gets rid of a few things. I think the original edition had some piano or some synthesizer shit in it. I don't know. Is it worth it to go back and get the original version of Risk? Let me know. I definitely want to go back and get the original edition of Cryptic Writings, the silver cover, because I have the black cover, which is the remastered one. But yeah, let me know. Should I find a original version of Risk, or should I just keep the remastered one and call it a day? But again, unpopular opinion here, I like this better than the second and third album by Megadeth. So feel free to crucify me in the comments for it, but also maybe try to, again, let me know what's so good about the second and third album besides Peace Cells and In My Darkest Hour, because other than that, I don't know. Alright, and finishing up this really long collection update with Korn's newest album from 2022, released February 4th. This is Requiem. I wasn't so sure about how I felt about this. I wasn't sure if I wanted to pick it up or not, but then I remembered I'm collector scum. Of course I'm going to pick it up if I already have all the other albums. So here we go. Here is me now owning another Korn album just because Korn put out another album. It is all right. I definitely liked the Nothing better. I feel like Korn has a pattern of releasing a good album and then a not so great album, and then a really good album, and then a shit album, and then an okay album, and then a slightly better than okay album. They kind of do this in their discography after a certain point, probably after Follow the Leader, if we're being honest. Yeah, the Nothing was better than this. I liked the Paradigm Shift better than this. I liked Korn 3 with Oildale better than this. There's quite a few albums that were better than this. Totalitarian, I don't know. The one that had all of the weird EDM shit in it was better than this one too. But there is a couple of okay tracks in here. Let the Dark Do the Rest. Worst is on its way. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know what your favorite tracks off of Requiem was if you liked Korn. Again, if you have no idea who they are, they're a nu metal band that came out of California from the US in 1993, and besides this 14th album, they have 13 other albums. So yeah, I think they've got a couple of EPs, but I don't know. I think they're mostly just digital releases. But they have a fuck ton of maxi singles too. They're really hard to track down, and some of them have really rare bonus tracks. Jingle Balls, I think, is one. Yeah. Anywho, Korn, new album, had to pick it up. Again, collector scum. Let me know if you have it, and let me know what your favorite tracks are off of it. It's like a 5 out of 10 album for me. So yeah, that's it out of this nice big fat stack here. Glad to come back on here with some more music collection for you, and some more metal, some more hard rock, some new metal, and everything in between. So yeah, some thrash, of course. It's just one of those updates where it's basically me just trying to go back and undo some mistakes of throwing out albums that should have not been thrown out in the past. Let me know how many of you have done that too. If you've got this far in the video, let me know if you've thrown out albums in the past that you really regret, and now you have to re-fucking buy them. Megadeth and AC/DC is my latest journey of reimbursing myself for stupid shit. I will be doing another collection update probably in a couple of weeks, but Katie of the Night did agree to actually do that live stream. I'm going to try and do that with her before September 8th. We'll discuss it, and I'll probably have it kind of announced on here when to expect it before then. So yeah, Katie of the Night and myself, we're going to be discussing some indie film topics and talking about how her movie was put together and how they got the idea for it, and talk about how my indie short film is going at the moment. So look forward to that. Cheers, and we'll see you in the next video. For glory, for the rebellion, Slammerella out.